and welcome back to another episode of the Minecraft Update Podcast. It is, of course, me, Foxy Hotel, and today I'm joined by Jessie B, which is good news because you missed it last week, didn't you, Jessie?
I know. Yes.
But sadly, bad news, not Slack. Slack's he's having a me day today, I think. He texted us earlier just saying he wasn't in the right state of mind to do the podcast, which is absolutely fine. We all have days where we feel like that. Not a problem at all. So me and Jessie got this. Jessie.
Yeah.
We got this right. We can do it.
Yes, absolutely. It's good.
Excellent. Good. I'm glad you've got faith because I've got none. I think it's just going to be it's going to be awful.
Thanks. I mean, fair, but no, we got this. We're going to be good.
We got a bit of a problem, Jessie. I don't know if you listened to the last podcast, but I spent pretty much 90% of it moaning at people for writing us feedback. So as a result, we don't have a great deal of feedback and we've got almost no news. So we're going to either have to speak very slowly or find lots to waffle about this week, I think.
I think waffling isn't really ever our problem, to be fair.
No, that's very true.
I don't think me and you have ever had a time where we sit down and we're like, you know what? That was really short. Like,
No, that is very true. Yeah, we do have a tendency to go on a bit. So hopefully this won't be a 15 minutes long podcast and it will at least reach an hour. But we will see. Right. Anyway, speaking of waffling on, we've waffled on a bit there. We've not even got into this week yet, Jessie. What have you been doing this week?
This week has been a little bit of a rough one for me. You know, have you ever had that moment where you think you're all right? You think everything's okay. And then you see like a picture of yourself and you go, oof, like that's not where I want to be. Well, I had one of those moments. Saw a picture of myself and was like, I could stand to get a bit healthier. So that's what I've been doing. I changed pretty much all of my habits. I am up earlier. I'm going to bed at a bedtime. It's been different. And of course, dieting. I hate diets. They suck.
Yes. They do, especially if you call them a diet, because when you call it a diet, you believe in your head it's temporary and you're looking forward to it being over. You don't want to be on a diet. You want to just you change your lifestyle into a way that's suitable for you that you enjoy, that is slightly better than what it is.
That's okay. That's very true. And that's fair. I haven't started a diet so much as I have been doing the thing that just isn't great, but it works for starting off in the right way. I've been counting calories.
Yeah.
I hate it so much, but it works.
It does work.
And I feel so much better. And I've realized my problem, right?
Yeah.
I'm one of those people who I forget to eat during the day. I just do. I don't think about it. I'm busy. I'm a mom. I cook for the kids and I just forget. I forget to eat. So I end up overeating at night right before bed. And not healthy. It's not great.
No, very similar, me and you, Jessie B, there. I can easily just work through the day, completely forget to eat. I don't have breakfast anyway. I quite often miss lunch. And then I'll have like something to eat for tea. And I think I won't go overboard because that's good. I'll have less calories today. Then I'll sit down in front of the TV if I'm having a day that I'm not sat at the computer till midnight. And I will eat the entire contents of everything I own and then feel bad about it. And then I wake up the next morning like I did this morning after doing that last night and go, oh, these jeans that I bought that are a size larger, these feel really tight. I wonder if my washing machine's broken and they shrunk.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. So counting calories has actually made me eat more, but better and throughout the day. So I'm feeling great. Everything's wonderful. I'm losing weight. And I'm like, all right, that was easy. I'm just dumb.
It is loads better doing that. Well, that's like how I lost a lot of weight a couple of years ago. I put it all back on again and I can't get back into the habit of doing that. But I was literally measuring out all my portions, counting it all, putting it into an app. And I lost some ridiculous amount of weight really quickly. But I was feeling full all the time because I was eating regularly and often and just the right thing. So I still every week buy that good food, but most of the time I end up either putting it in the freezer and I've got like a pile of like chicken in the freezer now that's, I don't know why I keep buying it fresh every week, or like all the veg, like the salad and the veg stuff just ends up going off and going in the bin or in the compost, which is awful. But it's just, I really want to get back into that habit, but I really struggle with it.
Yeah.
Going back to what you said right at the beginning of that, have I ever looked at like, had a day and then been like, oh yeah, I can't remember exactly how you put it, but that's literally every time I wake up and look at myself in the mirror, I look at myself and think, where did he go? Where's the guy that was in here yesterday? What's going on? So yeah, it's I think it happens to all of us, particularly as you start getting older.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's a really common thing, and it's, not an issue unless you let it be. So I'm in a good headspace about it. I'm just like, you know what? It's just time to make better life decisions. I'm not getting any younger.
No.
And it's just, it's time. But yeah, other than that, I have been actually really remotivated for TB. Like, not that I was getting, okay, I'm not gonna lie. I was getting like not burned out so much as bored. I was getting bored, and I was doing the same thing over and over again, and it was just annoying me. And I don't know what happened. Maybe it's the healthy changing whatever. It just, this week, I was like, you know what? I have stuff I want to do. I'm going to do it. And I love everything I have done over the last week in Minecraft. I've worked on my bridge that leads down to what's going to be a dock. I've added more rooms into my actual base. I've been detailing, and it's been wonderful. So yeah, overall, I've had a really good week.
Good. That's really good. And that does make sense. When you're feeling rubbish on the inside, like you're feeling rubbish about yourself, or you maybe not even feeling rubbish about yourself, but you're not living properly, you lack of sleep and eating habits are bad, and you don't notice at the time. But once you get out of that and you start eating better and more regularly, like the right food, and you start sleeping better, you suddenly have you feel like a completely different person. And all of a sudden you feel motivated to do loads of things. Like, for instance, cleaning the house, walking the dog, doing stuff with the kids. All of a sudden you've got this sudden energy to focus on things but when you slip back into being rubbish again, like I am at the moment, you don't notice. But you just find, I can't be bothered to do that. I can't be bothered to. I can't be bothered to do that. So it's like, it is so like healthy mind and healthy body. It really, you sound really preachy saying it, don't you? But it's true. It honestly makes such a massive difference to doing anything, work, play, the whole lot. It's, yeah. So yeah, good advice, but actually doing it, Jessie. I mean, well done for you for doing it, but it's getting there, just getting that motivation to kickstart. It's just so hard. And then sometimes you do, and then you just, for whatever reason, wake up one day and you fall out of it again. And I don't know, one day I'll be back and I'll be really slim and young again. That'll be me.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay, my week. Oh, believe it or not, Jessie B, I've done... Still haven't recorded any Minecraft videos at all. But the good news is, and I know I say it every single week, it's nearly ready. It's finished. The stuff I was doing is finished. Now, not the stuff I started off doing originally that I intended to do. That's actually not even got any further than it did like a month ago when I started the whole thing. But I'm not worried about that right now. The bits that we were talking about for the last couple of weeks is finished. But it's not live yet because I got to a point on Monday. I was like, right, I'm going to get this done by the end of this today. I'm going to have it all up and done, and I can start recording videos on Tuesday. And I went to put it on my website, and it looked awful. And I looked at my website, and I thought, I've had this website for 8 years, and it still looks rubbish, and it's untidy, and there's loads of stuff missing from it. And I thought, I just tweak it a bit. I just tweak my website, make it look, and now I've completely redesigned my entire website. The pages are still very similar, and the layout's similar to a degree, but it's fresh looking. It works better. There's a lot more going on. Like the download pages will actually explain to you, like, obviously there's a lot of things when people download add-ons, there's like, oh, I can't install it, how do I do this, how do I do that? So I try to answer questions through the process and make the process easy for people as well. At the moment, the day as we're recording this today, it's not live, but I can't see any reason, provided I get the weekend on it, that it won't be ready for Monday to go live for everybody. So at the moment I'm doing all this on a test server. all I got to do once that's done is push it up to the main server, and hopefully, fingers crossed, next week, Monday, we'll be up and running with a brand new website with many, many, many goodnesses. And then I can start recording videos again. Hooray! I'm so excited. It's been so long, but I kind of, and this sounds awful because obviously being one of the founding members of TB and a big advocate for TB, I'm not interested in going back to TB at the minute. And that sounds awful, but
ouch.
I know. What I really want to do is I want to make, because I've been doing all this website stuff and my head's in this like zone, I want to make tutorial videos on how to install add-ons on a mobile and how to do it on a console and how to do this and how to do that. And that's where my brain is at the minute with all of this stuff. So I'm really struggling. Like, yesterday, obviously, I did a live stream. Oh, sorry, Tuesday I did a live stream. I'll be doing one today. Every time I sit down to do those, I really enjoy them, but I feel disconnected from Truly Bedrock, and I'm really struggling to find that way to connect back into it again. And I think this is the problem I had on season 3. I took a break, or at least I was sort of involuntarily demotivated from it and really struggled to get back into it. And I just need that. I need that spark to sort of get back in and get going. And because it's amazing, Truly Bedrock, such an amazing thing. It's growing all the time. There's the members are wonderful. And I feel I don't want to be disconnected from it, but I have to say that taking away that panic of, I've got to put a video up every day and I've got to do this and I've got to do that. Taking that out has been such a relief to just take away and do what I want to do for a bit. And without feeling like I've got that pressure on me to, you must put out a Truly Bedrock video every week and you must do this and you must do that. So it's nice. I just wish I could find that balance, but I'm not a very good person at finding balance. I'm very much, I'm going to do that and then I'm going to do that. And I go all in on the thing I'm focused on at the time, which is not good, but it's just how I am, I guess.
I don't think it's necessarily bad, but I can see how that would affect, I mean, as someone who has multiple things on your channel, that would be a little bit disjointed, I guess. Like, I can see that. I can see how it would be hard to get back into one thing once you're so focused. And I think that's obvious by the fact that you've been doing your website for 3 weeks. So I totally get it. Yeah. And hopefully you find that thing that like makes you want to come back, and then you can go like, maybe not even full hog back into it, right? But like dabble.
Yeah, I'd be happy at the minute just putting one episode of Truly Bedrock out a week and then doing and focusing on something else in the meantime. Obviously, there's always that worry, and obviously for the last 3 weeks, there's that worry of if you're not making content, you're not getting paid, which is absolutely true, and you're not growing, and I need to do that, but I don't know, because the other thing is, the other thing that's in the back of my mind is I've got a real itch to start working on another map. And I've got some really good ideas, and I've been talking to the build team people and they've got some really good ideas. So, and I know that's a big job that'll take a lot of time and take a lot of focus. And every time, and I've done this for the last couple of years, I go to my favorite spreadsheet program and I type the word schedule and I make a really fancy day of the week thing planner down to the hour, and I organize my week perfectly. And then it doesn't last like a day, let alone a whole week, because I try and split everything out. Okay, Monday I'm going to record a video, Tuesday I'm going to do this, Wednesday I'm going to do that, Thursday I'm going to focus on that. And it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. When in reality, on paper, it looks great. But in reality, I just like, but I don't want to do that today. I want to do this. Yeah. I've had this really good idea tonight and I want to implement that today. So, yeah. Anyway,
schedules are really hard for creativity. I know plenty of people who can schedule everything and it totally works for them. They've scheduled out their whole entire day, and they, for some reason unbeknownst to me, like my brain cannot comprehend, they can stick to it.
Yeah.
But I'm not that way at all. Never been that way. I'm someone who very much, when something, like I get that moment where I have inspiration for something, I have to do it right then. So like I can't plan my day around something. I can give myself a general idea, like, okay, I need to wake up early because I have stuff to do, right? Totally, that I can handle. But if you want me to break down like hour by hour, no, doesn't work for me. And I know how unrealistic it is. And that's taken time because I used to try. And then I would get really upset that I could not stick to it. I would just be like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I do this? And then I was like, nope, stop it. Just do what you need to and figure it out from there.
Yeah.
It's hard though.
It is. It is. The thing is, like at school, I thrived on it. We had the planner at school and you go to this lesson, then you do that and you do that. And it worked. And that routine made me feel like I belonged, I knew what I was doing, and I was never lost and confused. And having, most of my life, I've worked for myself, or I have never really had a proper job in a proper atmosphere with proper people, if that makes sense. I worked with people before, but only for a very small amount of time in my working life. Most of the time I've been self-employed. So I've been left to my own devices to sort of organize my days and organize my schedule and organize just stuff with the house and the kids and stuff like that. And I find the less structured it is, the more stressful I find it, because I like the structure. So what I'd really need is I need a boss. I need somebody to be saying Monday you do this, Tuesday you do that, Wednesday you do that. But that person needs to be as invested as I am in it, and then not expect anything in return. Like Slack was talking about last week, how he's got a group of people around him, and he'll talk to T-Man about this, and he'll talk to so-and-so about that, and his editor, and they'll all be firing stuff backwards and forwards. And to be honest with you, that would drive me insane if I had people permanently saying, what are you doing today? What are you doing about this video? What are you doing about that? Because I'd be saying, I don't know. I'm just wigging it. So there's expectation put on you then. But I think on the other hand, having somebody that was the planner, writing it all down, saying, this is what you're doing, this is your structure, don't wander off from it. Yes, it would inhibit a certain amount of creativity, but you get used to it. You'd be like, okay, this is a really good idea. I can't do that today, so I'm going to write it down and come back to that tomorrow, and just trust yourself to remember. And I think that would be great. But unfortunately, when we're doing this sort of job, finding people like that's very hard. Hey, I want to be your boss and not get paid and take it seriously and understand everything that you understand exactly as you understand it. Yeah, no.
I don't think that's going to happen, sadly.
No, so I'll just carry on meandering through, bouncing off one thing to the next thing to the next thing, and make my way through content creation one way or another. Right, anyway, speaking of waffling on, Jesse, we've waffled on through this week. We're doing good. Keep waffling. And now we're going to waffle through the feedback. And I said we didn't have much feedback. We've actually got a reasonable amount. But we do have a couple of books. In Rust, we're not getting to it yet, but Rusty Shackelford, I've got your number, my friend. And, just woe betide, young person. Right. George Aid says, Foxy and Slack. Wow, no Jesse B there. You both say you this feedback, Jesse. Oh man. Okay. I've read this several times, and it's one of those, and I'll try and explain it once I got to the end of it, that you'll know what I mean. Foxy and Slack, you both say you hate pranks because you get on and have been pranked, then have to clean it up, and that stops you from what you're wanting to do. Maybe, I can't speak for everyone, but I love that part. Big reason I've enjoyed Tis Tom's Season 4 so far. I'm not a content creator, but I feel it's easy content. You get on, you're pranked, we get a reaction, get to see the prank, and then you clean it or leave it, and then log that footage and to add to your prank back video. And then you can still do what you plan to do for that video. Then the next video, you can prank and prank back video. Sorry, additional thought in addition to past email. A year is a long time to continue one series and continue being motivated and keep content coming. Prank videos and the social aspect of your SMP, I feel, could help as good filler videos, which takes a little pressure off you guys to keep your channel active without forcing big build videos you guys aren't happy with. Right, I'm going to jump in on this one rather than sending it straight over to you, because this is one of those where somebody's gone, perhaps that person doesn't realize, anything. Basically, what you've done is I don't like chips, and you've gone, you like chips. But if you like chips, it's a really weird one. It's like you think that we haven't thought about it, and therefore you're trying to explain to us why it's a good idea to do it. And it's not that. It's not that we haven't thought about it. Of course, we realize that that's potentially extra filler content. The problem is, George, for people like me in Slack, it's not being pranked and having to clean it up. That's the problem. It's being taken off course from what you're planning to do. As I've just discussed today, I like being organized. I like to know what I'm doing. And as much as a lot of the times I'm winging it, most of the time when I'm recording a video, I know what I want to do to that video. And I'm wary of the amount of time that I need to record and how I'm going to structure that into an edit to try and make it as concise as possible. The other thing to take into consideration here is that some of us personalities don't enjoy the sort of the younger aspect of things. Tiz is one of the youngest members in the group. He still really enjoys like pranking and being pranked and stuff. And a lot of the members do. I'm not saying it's for kids, but it is definitely, it's like you go through stages, I guess, as a gamer. When you're really young, you go around just in creative mode. Then a bit older, you go around just destroying everyone's bases because you can. Then you go around killing everyone with PvP and pushing them off things because you think it's funny. Then you go around pranking everybody. And then eventually you've just seen it all and you've done it all and you just want to crack on and just make a video. And maybe it's Slack and I take ourselves too seriously. Maybe we take, content creation too seriously. I don't know what it is, but it's like that. When you get pranked and you're not expecting it, it just rubs you up the wrong way. You have a negative reaction to it rather than a positive reaction to it. And that's a mindset. That's not something you can change. That's part of your inner personality. So you saying, I'll just, do it anyway, is like basically me saying to you, I'm really scared of spiders, for instance. And then going, but you should play with spiders because it's fun for us. It might be fun for you, but it's not for me. And I'm the one that's doing this, So we don't have a problem with being pranked as long as we're aware of it and we're told about it. What we don't want is it just to surprise us, because that puts us on edge, puts us in a bad mood, and has a long-term effect on the video going forward. If you feel, or if you have a negative reaction to something, whether that's the right reaction or not, if you do, that puts you in a bad mood. And that means that that day and that time you've put aside to record that video is impacted negatively because you're already in a bad mood. You want to get on. You want to sit on your computer feeling as positive as possible in order to put that positivity into the video, because a more positive video has a more positive response. You don't want to sit there being miserable through the whole thing because you're thinking, oh, I got to do this because everyone thinks it's really good fun, even though I absolutely despise it, So I appreciate your message and I appreciate you thinking about us, but if we're not of that personality, which we went into a lot of depth about last week, then it's not something that we're interested in doing, regardless of how, interesting you guys might find it, So, and yeah, it is great filler content and it does make, it does help break things up a bit. But again, the other thing that Slack and I are very aware of, and a lot of other people are as well, a lot of people do care about it, a lot of people don't. I think we probably overanalyze it and overly care about it, is that we know that our YouTube viewers very much care about a specific type of video. Now, Tiz has already said this season that when he puts out prank videos or videos that suggest he's been pranked in the thumbnail and the title, they perform really well on his channel. When I do that, they perform really badly because my audience wants to see the content I make, not the sort of content that other people make. That's what they go to Tiz for or to somebody else. So I'm aware that when I have a lot of prank stuff going on in the video, the last thing I want to do is advertise that because my video won't get clicked on and it won't get watched. So it's not, it's just like, it's not good for us. It is for other people. It's great for other people. And you don't have to be young. I'm not saying it's a young person's thing, but it just tends to appeal to more younger people in my experience. But it just doesn't appeal to us in that way. Anyway, rambled on about that. Jessie, your thoughts?
I was going to say basically the same thing you did at the end is pranks are really good for certain channels. They're really good for certain channels, for certain people. And it's... Are you okay there, buddy? My tea went on the wrong hole. Excuse me. Carry on. I'll mute. Oh my goodness. No, I was basically
wrong mute button.
Oh goodness. Yeah. I was just going to say that it's not good for everyone. And I think that's a real big generalization. I know that a lot of viewers do enjoy pranks. I know that a lot of content creators enjoy pranks, and we have quite a few on TB, but I don't dislike pranks, but they bomb on my channel, and I'm not somebody who doesn't like them. Like, they just don't do well. So I usually will do like one, and then if it happens again, it kind of goes in the background of a video, because they don't do well. And it's, yeah. So I think it's a nice thought, and it sounds like you have put a lot of thought into it, George. And that's great. That's great that you care. But I think you got to let people do with their channel what they know performs well. And pranks just, they're not it.
Yeah.
For a lot of people.
Exactly. Right. What's Tyler got to say, Jesse, while I continue dying in the background?
Tyler says, I wanted to say that in the previous episode, when you read the question that talked about when the Enderman teleporting and not coming back, that is also a bug in Java. I think the Endermen teleport outside of the range of where they would stay hostile to the player, especially if you do it underground. The Endermen could lose their way to you and return to their non-hostile state. So it's happening on both versions of the game, and I think it is something to do with the new world generation settings.
Any thoughts on this, Jesse? Have you had this problem? You gone to attack an Enderman and it's disappeared?
No, I can't recall that ever happening to me, actually. So I have no idea. What do you think?
I think we actually got a couple of bits of feedback on this that I haven't tied together because I'm an idiot and I should have done really. But yeah, I think there's a lot of the time is when you're using, or when there's differences in terrain variation, if you like. So an Enderman teleports away, maybe it goes underground, or maybe it goes too low down to be able to walk back up to you. It doesn't teleport back to you because unless it randomly teleports later on. But in order to do that, it's going to need to be calm again, because I don't know if they do that while they're angry. So if it can walk back to you from where it's teleported to, then great. Otherwise, if it's gone below or above you, then chances are it won't be able to get back to you. So that's probably one reason. The other thing is on Bedrock recently, and this did come up in some of the feedback that we'll read in a minute, they changed how far Enderman can teleport away now. They can actually teleport twice as far, up to 64 blocks away from the player. And I think sometimes when they do that, they're going outside of they'll despawn, because particularly on a chunk simulation distance of 4 chunks, which we play on, mobs will despawn when they're more than 54 blocks away from a player. Or is it 44? 44
I
blocks
thought it was
away
44,
from yeah. So, you know, they now just go out of the distance, then you'll just poof, gone. That's it, despawn. So they can't come back to you even if they wanted to. So, yeah, that's a bit of a shame. Right, somebody who's just smashed their keyboard to pieces whilst trying to put their name in at the bottom of the email says, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, y'all. Wire Guy here. So they do have a name. They just didn't, you know. And then anyway, Wire Guy is this piece of feedback, Jesse, before I read it. This might solve our problem. Our problem being that the podcast keeps repeating in places for people.
Okay.
Last week I did it with no ads, and it still managed to repeat for some people. So it's not an ads thing. And I think this person might be right with their feedback. So here goes. Podcast is great. Dynamic is awesome. Sorry, Slack and Jesse, but Foxy and his sarcasm is my favorite. Big smiles from me. I too have heard the repeating podcast, even the latest episode with the ads removed. I've been thinking about it as I've listened to a few episodes again. Might be something to do with how the audio is being encoded. 11,000 years ago, when I was a computer geek, I recall having issues similar with MP3s that were encoded using variable bitrate. I've included a couple of screenshots, which obviously you guys can't see. The first is when the latest episode first dropped. The second is when the closing music started. And the third is when the silence started. Interesting thing, if I have to stop the podcast and close the app and repeat, it doesn't happen. Google Podcast is the app on a Motorola Edge Plus. Sorry for the book, but I did trim the first chapter, lol. I've also included some extra capitals and punctuation just in case. Thank you very much, Wire Guy. Do you know what? I read that while I was out walking Nelly the other day, and I was thinking about it. I was like, yeah, I've had issues like that in the past with variable bitrate stuff, but I always encode with a variable bitrate because it keeps the file size down. So this week, what I'm going to do is I'm going to output the episode with a constant bit rate and see if it makes any difference. And we'll soon find out. The other thing I do, which I probably shouldn't do for a podcast, is I produce it in stereo when it only needs to be in mono. And I probably put the bit rate up a bit high to try and keep the quality higher. So I might maybe try dropping that a little bit as well and see if all of those changes help. Any thoughts on that, Jessie?
No.
I didn't think you'd have much to say about that one.
Yeah. I don't know anything about podcasty stuff.
Smile away, boys. Smile away.
Yeah, exactly. I'll do the little, what is it? Like the princess wave that you see at Disneyland.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello, I exist. I'm smiling. Yeah.
Exactly.
Good.
Okay, Cell Dweller says, congrats on the weight loss Slack. When I was in the hospital for COVID, I lost 80 pounds in 2 weeks. I was 380 pounds. Now I'm 300. So I feel you on that. 80 pounds in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Wow.
That
is that.
It almost makes you want to go to hospital, doesn't it?
Right? No, not obviously.
Not where you live
but...
because it's very expensive, but where I live, it's free. You know, sounds good to me. When I was 16, I had a motorbike accident, and I ended up in hospital for 2 weeks, and I was nil by mouth because I'd have a big operation. I had organs removed and all sorts. And you were literally on a saline solution for 2 weeks, and I went in there at 12.5 stone. I came out at 9.5 stone. And my shoes, believe it or not, this is the weirdest thing. And this still happens when I lose weight now. My shoes went down from a size 10.5 or 11, depending on the shoe fit, to a size 7. So,
yeah.
So, yeah. Being in hospital, as much as it's, not always, never for the right reasons, it does have a positive outcome for those of us that are slightly on the edge of being the wrong weight.
So what you're saying is I need to find a reason to go to the hospital, and then my weight problems will just be solved.
Just make it up, Jessie. Just be like, oh, look, there's something wrong with me. I need to be in. You need to put me on nil by mouth and just plug me in. Or just buy loads of water and pour salt into it and just stick your needle in your. I know that we probably shouldn't encourage. No, don't do that. No. Don't go to hospital. Lose weight the proper way. Although, can definitely recommend being in hospital for 2 weeks. Does allow you to buy cheaper shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, jeez. Right. Well, quick, get us out of this one. Hi, Foxy, Slack, and Jessie. I just wanted to let you know that while listening to last week's podcast, during the question segment, we were discussing potential base babysitting and chores for stream weekend. The podcast jumped way back to the news section where you were discussing the first Java snapshot. I was listening on a Samsung S21 phone using mobile data, no signal issues, and accessed the podcast direct from Foxy's website. I scrolled forward a bit from that point, 10 minutes or so, and it played without issue through to the end. I hope this helps ironing out some issues. Cheers, Tra. Tra, that doesn't help at all.
That's... What? That sounds terrible.
What's going on? I think I might need to email the peeps at Spreaker. We'll try that thing this week, what I said with the couple of bits of feedback ago with the bit rate. And if that doesn't work, then I think I should... Yeah, because I'm paying for this service at the end of the day, so it needs to be right. So, yeah, a bit of technical help and support might go a long way. But you guarantee as soon as I email them about it, it won't happen again. They'll be like, can you show us it happening? And, no.
Oh, my goodness.
Jeez.
That guy says, awesome content. Keep it up. Hopefully, we can both be big one day. You earned a sub. We can both be, I feel like that's from last week, and I just don't understand. We can both be big one day?
I think it's advertising. I think they must be a YouTuber as well, and they were like, hey, come sub to me type thing.
Gotcha.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Wow.
If it's not,
then
nerve. Apologies, but otherwise, wow. Jeez.
Yeah.
Lofty says, good one on the refund, Foxy. Also, good on Slack for looking after himself. Regarding both of your answers to how people play, I prefer to play alone as well. I love the multiplayer and playing with others, but I prefer to build in a space away from others. Jesse, how do you feel about this? If you listened to last week's, you'll have heard me and Slack ranting about the fact that we both really would wish we was in single player, but just with people we can sell stuff to, you know, and go and visit sometimes, you know, just in terms of base proximity and us being just completely antisocial. How do you feel about these sorts of things?
I mean, as your base neighbor, I feel a little offended. But in general, I don't know how many people actually watch what I do. I very much am a loner. The majority of my content is me alone, just doing what I want to do. And then on the rare occasion, I hang out with friends, right? That's my type of thing. But no, I would not want to play solo. I am very firmly in the, I did not enjoy a single player. I would not do it again. I love being on TB. I like being able to just pick up and be like, hey, buddy, what are you doing? So I much prefer multiplayer because I have the option to just play by myself and then see what's happening around me. So yeah, I disagree with that a little bit.
That's good. I think that's another mindset thing as well, because playing on a single player world has the advantages of you're in total control. It's all on you. You can do what you want, where you want. You don't have to compromise. You don't have to think about lag. You don't have to worry about upsetting people. You can build where you want. If you find a nice place that's not where you were building, you can just move to it. You could do, you know, you've got freedom and control. And then again, going back to our personalities we were talking about earlier, I'm very much that I like to be in control of things, which is why I struggle to delegate things, and I struggle to push things out to other people because I feel I need to be in control of it. And whereas playing in a multiplayer world is, I mean, for me, it was really hard work going from single player to multiplayer because I'd always done things on my own. I'd never played multiplayer games before. And then like opening up my world to patrons for the first time was one of the most grating experiences because I wanted to really enjoy it and play with them. But I was just thinking, you're touching my stuff. You're touching my stuff. And it took a couple of months to like get out of that mindset and actually then really enjoy the changes that were happening in the world without me. And that's what I like about like playing on Truly Bedrock, is to see a world evolve around you is amazing. It's absolutely fantastic. And having base neighbors as well this season is great to see things going on without me, you know, having to do it all, which is fantastic. The problems, like I think that we were saying is exactly what I just said a second ago, is just like you feel like you're compromising all the time. You feel like you're not in control. And that sometimes is a hard one to get around, particularly when you want to, I want to do this in the Nether, but I can't because Lloyd's building the Nether hub there. I want to do this at the bottom of this, but I can't because of that. And I wanted to do this at spawn, but I can't because of that. And it's not like that's a big problem. I'm not like, I'm really annoyed about this. It's just you have ideas about things, but then you have to push those ideas away because they're not suitable or they're not, you know, within the realm of what you're doing. For me, the other side of things is, I mean, like I say, I really enjoy the multiplayer aspect in terms of like we all play together. We got shops, we've got a team thing going on, and I love I just love the group. But in terms of actually playing and creating content, I find it very difficult. And I've just completely forgotten what I was about to say then. Oh man, it's gone out of my ear. Out of my ear.
Oh no.
No, my ear. I'm leaking. It's leaking ideas. Please, where's the cork? Plug it up. I got some tissue. Oh jeez. Oh, no. My ideas are leaking out, Jesse. Have I been drinking? Jeez.
I mean, I thought that made sense until you started laughing, and then I was like, yeah, no, that doesn't, huh?
No, it doesn't make sense. It didn't go out my ear at all. Oh, geez, I can't remember what I was going to say. I'm just basically saying that I don't want to go back to single player. I don't want to do it on my own. I do like the Truly Bedrock side of things. It's just that I was going to talk about storyline. So obviously, I was big into doing stories. That was what my channel was really all about when it started, and it still is sort of a bit to now. But I find it really difficult engaging with the storyline on multiplayer things now because there's so many people else that sort of get involved with it and take it their way, and you don't know what everyone else has done, and you don't know how they've done it, and perhaps they've not got the same ideas as you, and you don't want to do something that's potentially going to go against them. And because I always like, we've got an idea of the storyline at the beginning of each season, and I've got some really good ideas from what I want to do with it. And then I'll hear in the chat a couple of months later or a couple of weeks later, before I've had a chance to do anything, oh, I've done this and I've done that and I've done that. And it sort of impacts on those ideas I had in a way that means that I'm going to have to change it or don't do it. So I lose motivation, which means I ended up not doing much story stuff. Like this season, I was fully on board to get back into story gear. We were doing a storyline that it was my original idea that's been chopped and changed where it started, but it's gone off on such a tangent from where I originally imagined it and how my story would fit around it that I've just completely lost motivation to sort of continue with it, unless like the people that are actively doing it go, hey, we need you to do this bit or we want you to be involved in this bit. I probably just avoid it from now on unless I come up with another good idea. But yeah, it's a shame. But again, that's working within a group of people. You've got to be prepared to compromise. And if you are like me, where you like to be in control, or you find it difficult when things don't go the way you were expecting, it takes a moment to actually reconfigure your brain to go from being annoyed about it to going, I can move on with this. I'll roll about with it. And I do that eventually. It just takes me a minute. Whereas most people, or at least the people on the group, apart from me and Slack apparently, just go, yeah, okay, that's cool, and then move on with it. So, yeah.
No, I feel that on a deep level. that absolutely makes sense to me as far as story parts go. I don't know if it's just because I am a writer, like I'm somebody who writes and I love being creative and I like that kind of thing. So I too am very much a control freak.
Yeah.
So when I get story stuff, if we start out with an idea and we start out with something that's like, okay, this is what we're going to do, and it changes, it completely throws off all motivation I have for something, because I had this idea in my head and I was like, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and I'm going to do this. And then you don't take into account that other people might do something and then everything changes. So I do get that. And I do agree that when it comes to story stuff, it's kind of hard being in multiplayer. So I will concur with that line of thinking.
Yeah. Right. Anyway, moving on to Daniel A.
Daniel A says, I'm most excited about using the allay to deal with the non-stackable raid farm drops. I need 3 to put out the totems, books, and saddles. Crossbows and potions can already be sorted without allays, and everything is an iron item that'll be smelted. So, okay. My question is for books. Wouldn't they have to be the same book?
No. We'll get to this in the news later, but no, the books, they will just pick up, if you give them a book or an enchanted book, they will pick up any enchanted book. Now, I had a very long and heated discussion on my Discord this week about the allays being pretty useless. See, first of all, I made a post without really thinking too much into it about how I couldn't wrap my head round, let's say you've got a raid farm and you've got loads of raid drops. You're going to have to chuck all of the raid drops onto the floor, or at least have them traveling in some sort of way where they're accessible to the air, and then have a bunch of allays go into them to pick them up like different items. But then I was like, well, how do you get allay A to go to music box A, and allay B to go to music box B, and allay B to go to music box B? And I was like, no, it's impossible, can't be done. And then I thought about it. I was like, no, actually, if you separated them, if you had them in their own little chambers and you used wall occlusion to stop the note blocks from being active, well, basically activating the wrong allay, then providing you had the items going past them on some sort of water conveyor or something like that, then that would work. But then we ended up in an argument about lag and about, you're going to have all of these raid farms are, they've got loads of items that come through there, and you're gonna have to have them all on the floor, or all are in a conveyor constantly going round, and only the allays picking up the ones they can. How do you deal with the ones that they don't pick up? And people are like, well, you could burn them. But yeah, you'll burn them, but you're going to burn everything else as well. So I don't know. It was a bit of an odd one, but then we went on to talking about, well, okay, even if you can do all of that, and even if the lag's not too bad with the items on the floor, you're still going to need several allays to do this. And Daniel Hayes just made it sound really simple, because he said that crossbows and potions can already be sorted, which I don't understand that, because I don't know how you would do that. I'd like to know how you would do that, because I feel really stupid now. Totems, books, saddles, obviously, that's fine. But then what about all of the armor for the different mobs? Because there's different types of armor, and there's different materials of armor. So you've got leather helmets, leather trousers, leather tunic. You know, you need an allay for each different one of those, unless you're just going to completely ignore them. So I don't know. I know for a raid farm, you don't generally get mobs in there that have got different types of armor on, do you? Because you've got witches, pillagers, and ravagers. So maybe not a raid farm, but other farms, mob farms and things. You're going to need so many allays to do it, which means that you're going to have to go exploring the world for miles and miles and miles trying to find all of these things. And then, like, on a multiplayer server, who do you decide who gets them? So one person suggested, well, maybe, you know, one person could rent them out to everybody else. Yeah, but how do you determine who's the one that has them to rent them out? And then what if once somebody loses one or kills one or something by mistake? So I don't know. I still think it's great for single player, but I think this is going to cause massive problems with like world file sizes, because they're so rare and hard to find without them being like able to be converted from vexes or something. Sorry, Jesse, I went on a bit of a tangent there.
No, that absolutely makes sense. I'm still in the camp of, I don't know much about the allay. I'm not somebody who tries to deep dive into things before their input into the game, right? So I haven't put much thought into how useful it's going to be. From the outside, just seeing like one thing, right? Like just from the vote, from the everything, I could care less.
Yeah.
I don't see how they're going to be very useful. I think people are getting too excited for something that they don't know how it's going to function when it's done, right? So, I mean, I'm not gonna for lack of a better word, I'm not going to pee in anyone's Cheerios about it, right? Like, you can do what you want.
Jeez.
But I don't know. I don't see the point in the allay. And I know people are really excited about it, but I'm so indifferent.
I think that now that it's been out for a couple of weeks and we can see the advantages of it, providing it doesn't change much from how it is, then there are situations for a lot of farms where it turns, you know, all of a sudden all of those non-stackable items that just currently take up millions of chests can be sorted, which is great, but it's not practical because you need so many allays to do it and because they're so rare. And I think that's where the problem is. So all of these people, you know, there's going to be farm videos out for, in fact, I think Silent's already done one, how, you know, multi-item sorter allay farm. Great. Everybody's going to be wanting to have 10, 12, 15, 30 allays working at their base doing these things, like trapped in little chambers, stored in non-stackable items. And on a multiplayer server, even if you've got 2 people on it, that's too many allays to get, because you can find them at Woodland Mansions, which are ridiculously rare anyway, and you're not guaranteed any, but you're likely to get somewhere between 3 and 9 depending on the Woodland Mansion, and you can find them at very rare again at some pillager outposts, and again, no guarantee you will. But if you do, you're likely to find somewhere between 1 and 6 if you're lucky. So you're going to have to do an absolutely ridiculous amount of world exploration to find them, even if you're using something like Chunkbase to find the Woodland Mansions and find the pillager outposts. All of a sudden, the worlds are going to be huge. And even if you're trimming them, even if you're pruning them regularly to try and bring the file size down, it's going to be constantly being explored, constantly having new chunks being generated, which slows down the servers and causes lag. It's going to be a big problem. And I know you know, the whole point of Minecraft is exploration, and they keep trying to push exploration or reasons to explore with all of these updates. But exploring there's a difference between going off for a wander and just go like everybody going on this massive mission to find as many allays as possible to make Silent Whisper's latest farm. And I think that's what's going to happen. And I'm worried about it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I can see that. I feel like knowing that, absolutely. It sounds miserable.
On things like Truly Bedrock, I think it's not too much of a problem because obviously we're expected to do certain things, and I think it will be relatively managed. But on patron servers and fan servers, or even like worlds that are open to the public, it's going to be a huge headache, I think, in terms of admin now. You'll be constantly having to prune your server, taking it down to trim the file size. I mean, we're running at 1.5 gigabytes on Truly Bedrock at the minute. We've only been playing 5 minutes. And I don't know. Yeah. Oh, sorry, Jesse. I got all ranty.
It's okay.
Jeez. Lucky2 says, oh my goodness, we're still in the feedback. When I said waffle, Jesse, jeez. Lucky2 says, okay, no books. I'll see what I can do. Show's great. Y'all are great. No dance breaks is sad. They do carry on, though. So, Minecraft, I have yet to see a single feature presented in the coming updates that provides more than the utility of an XP furnace. Anything less than a new dimension doesn't stack up in a pros or cons list, in my opinion. Am I missing something? If I can't efficiently repair my gear, there ain't much a frog can do for me. Also, Worcestershire. Proprioception? What? An onomatopoeia. Have a good one. Wow. I can say Worcestershire and I can say onomatopoeia, but I don't know what the one in the middle is. What's that, Jesse?
Proprioception?
Yeah.
Proprioception?
Okay.
I don't know what that word means. So if I
Google
butchered it, sorry.
Maybe it's not swearing. Jeez. It's otherwise known as kinesthesia. Is your body's ability to sense movement, action, and location. Wow, amazing.
Oh, fantastic. Well, there we go.
Right. So, would you like to say the word beginning with W?
Worcestershire? Is that way wrong? I don't know.
No, it's just the way it Worcestershire. It sounds like you'd like Worcestershire.
Worcestershire? Nope, see, gone. It
Or,
was better before.
I think they put that in because most of the time, like people from the States will go, Worcestershire. Worcestershire. It's a Worcestershire. Right, okay.
Oh,
Jeez. So anything less than a new dimension doesn't stack up, in my opinion. Am I missing something? So I don't really, it just feels like a rant rather than a question or any feedback, that one. What do you think? I mean, I guess I can see what they're saying. We don't have any new XP things, but do we need them?
Well, I mean, we do. Because I don't want to have to build a crazy farm every time I want to repair a pickaxe. So, I mean, but other than that, no, you're right. It does feel ranty, but I mean, that's what we do half the time, right? So everyone else is allowed to rant sometimes. So I will support your need to rant, Lucky2.
I don't mind a rant as long as that rant has got a thoughtful explanation, and I just that one just feels like I've got a problem with this and not really exploring it, which is fine because we said no books. Obviously, Lucky2, we are still. We've got this Skulk stuff, which we're all ignoring, which is an XP source, and it's looking like it's a pretty easy way to get a lot of XP, albeit you do need to build some sort of basic mob farm to do it. But because nobody's come out with other than Mumbo Jumbo's ridiculously difficult design to build like blocks of this stuff, no one's really come up with a Skulk XP farm yet. I think a lot of people are just very dismissive of it, or of it being a thing. But I think that's the idea. That's the plan from Mojang, at least, is this is going to be your new XP furnace. And don't forget, the XP furnace thing was a bug. You can still have a kelp farm running into various smokers and do that, or have a fish farm running into various smokers and do that, and build up XP in each furnace and put a lever on like everybody used to do before we had the furnace glitch. and then take a bit of XP out of one and go off and, so there are still options. It's just, yes, okay, it's not as good as Java Edition or as easy as Java Edition, but it's not like we haven't got anything. So.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. What's Gixer got to say, Jesse?
Gixer says, oh, I hear you on the file size issues. My original realm was 4.4 gigabytes. The members have been nagging at me for months to sort out a download, and it just keeps producing an empty file. Arg, Bugrock.
Yeah.
We're now on a server, and I'm too dang scared to look at the file size. I just know it'll be horrendous. As ever, loving the podcast. Keep up the great work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You go, Jesse.
I took a download yesterday of TB from Nodecraft, and it was like 4 something to download it, and I was like, what the heck is going on? Of course, the actual game size is like 1.9, which is still huge. Like, what have we been doing?
Yeah.
That it's so
is it
big.
1.9 now, is it? Jeez.
Yeah. That was I put it in and I was like, no way.
Yeah, the reason it's currently showing 4 gigabytes is because we finally updated to Minecraft 1.18.12 last week. And when you do that on Nodecraft, it stores all of the original files in an old folder. It makes a new folder and chucks it all in there in case there's a problem with all of your new stuff. And whenever you take a download, it downloads the whole lot. So you're getting all the old and the new. So it's doubling up the size of it, basically. So I need to go out and clear that out. But I didn't want to touch anything until I was sure everything was going to be all right. So,
That's fair.
We can fix that now. In terms of Realms, though, Realms, I mean, until recently, if it was bigger than the gigabyte, you couldn't get it out of a Realm. It just wouldn't do it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they there was a big fanfare on Twitter a few months ago going, hey, we fixed it now, you can get things that are over a gigabyte out, but I don't think it's much more than a gigabyte. So 4.4, I'm pretty sure we'll just be stuck there forever. But yeah, on a server, it's not too bad. As much as the world does start lagging a bit, as it's better than it was, to be fair, but it used to be really bad. The bigger the world file size got, it was awful, but now it's not as bad as it was. But yeah, on a server, at least, you're not limited to being stuck to whatever Mojang say. It can be as big as you want, and you can still access it, providing your server can cope with it, I guess. So, geez. Speaking of Gixer, Jesse, the tea that I was choking to death on earlier was being drunk out of a mug that they made me. They actually live not far from me, and they made me a really nice a completely custom Foxy No-Tail mug with TB logo on the back and everything. It's amazing. So it's the first time I've drunk out of it was today, and I nearly died. But it's amazing. So thank you, Gixer.
That's so cool. I remember you saying that you wanted one. So the fact that you got one, I'm like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I got 2 more on the way as well. I mean, I don't want to sound like, oh, Gix is mean because she made me pay for them. But obviously I've ordered these. I've commissioned them rather than just going, here, have these mugs for free. I would never expect that. That's not what I'm saying.
Oh, hold on. Shoot, what the heck?
Is she awake?
She's been awake for about the last hour, but she's just chilling in her room. However, I'm looking at the baby camera and she has a CD, which makes me think it's a DVD.
Oh, no.
Which makes me think she stole something. So if I go in there, see, here's the dilemma. If I go in there, she's up.
Yeah.
And she's out and she's loud. Do I let her play with this DVD that I don't think she's going to break, but it's, she's going to ruin it?
I mean, as long as she doesn't bite it
up?
and it go in her mouth, I think you'll be all right. It'll probably never work again, but
Yeah. I mean, it's a DVD. I'll just buy it.
It's your wedding DVD or something like that. The one copy that you've got.
That would be my luck. But you know what? No. Okay, sorry. I'm going to let her until she knocks on the door. I'm just going to, I have an eye on her. She won't choke.
Jeez. Oh, my goodness me. Yeah, you can't choke on a CD. I mean,
no.
Even if you've got a really big mouth, you can't choke on a CD. It's got a hole in it. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez.
That's so funny.
Right, Blue Blog.
It is.
We're going to run through the rest of this then. podcast quick. Okay, Blue Block says, another awesome episode. I'm so disappointed in the goat horns. I imagined that maybe they would somehow use them to activate the funky redstone lamps in the not a portal in the ancient city. This in turn would activate the not a portal thing, but risk alerting the warden. Wasted opportunities if it's just an instrument, just my opinion. Yeah, I agree.
That would be an amazing idea. I would love that. Blue Block, you tell them.
See, the thing is, right, and I don't want to go on a waffly tangent now because of your situation. But anyway, just very quickly, we got the video of the warden, that like 3D animation thing with the guy that was playing. Was he playing a guitar or something and the warden was dancing? Or was it? Yeah, right? So they're like, they've highlighted that music and the warden go together. So, you know, and then they come out with this trumpet that plays music. And I'm thinking, surely that portal, can we activate it by playing music? Can we activate it with a note block? And I'm there waiting for someone to figure it out and post on Twitter. Oh, I did this with the note block and the warden did this. And, you know, but it's like, yeah, wasted opportunities everywhere. None of it's true. Oh my goodness, Mojang. There's got to be something underneath this. There's got to be. Anyway, we'll get to that in the news. Right. Jesse, quick.
TLDR, don't use Fire Aspect Sword on Enderman. In regards to the question about Enderman in the end, Groova Guide did a video about their new teleporting mechanics. Basically, they can teleport further from the player, which can be put far enough away to despawn. This usually isn't a problem, though, because they only teleport when they take damage, i.e. right on top of the player. The caveat is using a Fire Aspect Sword lets them teleport multiple times from the fire ticks, giving them a much greater chance of despawning. Yeah, I feel like we've known for a long time, don't use Fire Aspect on an Enderman.
Yes.
Just because it's annoying. But I guess this makes it more than just for annoying reasons. So yes, I agree with the TLDR.
Yes. Good. Right. Rusty Shackleford. Unfortunately, my friend, I was going to read the entire lot of things that you've done, but we are now suddenly short of time. So I'm going to read your first one and skip the rest, I'm afraid. Rusty says, you want to complain about books? I'll give you a book. Chapter 1. Once upon a time, there was a fox that hated reading books. His best friend was a lizard with rubbish audio. The end.
I love it. It's the best book.
Oh, geez. Yeah, Rusty went on a very, very long... Well, they're basically responding to a lot of things throughout the podcast, and I would love to address all of them, Rusty, but unfortunately we can't. Which takes us to Nathan Wickenden.
Nathan says, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but the warden was shown with the 1.18 update, albeit just in the deep slate layers of the cave, with shulk blocks coating the floor. It wasn't until Mojang announced 1.19 that the ancient cities became a thing.
I think we covered that in the last podcast, and maybe they said that before we covered that. But yes, you're right, I think, at the end of the day there. Emerald Thunder Programming says we should be able to cure allies with some sort of new potion, or maybe we could repurpose an old one. I'd love to try and build an allay farm using an evoker. It makes me so annoyed how much they push the marketplace. The interface's design makes the marketplace button the thing your eyes move to. This was my driving force for moving to Java Edition. You're not the first person to say that, Emerald Thunder. A couple of people now have left feedback saying they've moved to Java because of the incessant marketplace advertising.
Yeah. And I'd have to agree, it doesn't help that the interface and like the glowing button all the time that moves from side to side, just it's so annoying. And I'm gonna say real quick, right? The new update and not being able to hide the server list is literally doing my head in. I'm so annoyed. I hate it so much.
Wow. Jeez. Yes. We'll find a way in the future, Jesse. I'm sure.
Good. I am counting the days.
Okay. It's Jennifer.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I scrolled past it. Jennifer, Feinstock? Whatever that says, I am so sorry that I just butchered it because that's awful. But Jennifer says, thanks for the great podcast. Love the intro and the outro banter. Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't really have any intro banter this week, but yeah, when we do, I like to leave it in because it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Teddy Legend says, great podcasting again this week. I've seen the Enderman issue happen a lot more since they updated teleportation radius to 64 blocks instead of 32. And then continues to basically say the same thing as everybody else. So, yeah, interesting on that note. That is the end of the feedback. If you would like to leave us feedback, do so at the Minecraft Update Pod at gmail.com. Don't forget to put feedback in your subject line, or drop us a note on the Discord, or if you're watching this on YouTube, leave a comment below. Moving on from that, we're going into the news, Jesse, and the first piece of news we've got is that there was a new Minecraft beta/preview, which was Minecraft 1.18.30.28 or 29. And this brought some new experimental features. Would you like to know what they are?
Yes.
Good. Okay. First of all, it brought the Deep Dark as an actual biome, which we've known about for a long time. However, on Bedrock Edition, good luck finding it without a locate biome command. That's all I'm going to say. So they've told us it's there, but has anyone actually seen it? Jesse?
Really? I'm sorry. So we don't have a locate biome, do we, in Bedrock?
Nope.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. I was like, how? Sorry, I got sidetracked there. That's going to be annoying to try to find one.
Yes.
What are you going to have to do?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, this is why it needs a new item like an Eye of Ender or something to find it. 'Cause, I mean, it's all right finding a woodland mansion because they're on the surface. You can see them. How are you supposed to just stumble across a Deep Dark? You can't. Yeah. Not possible.
I mean, no. And even the what's the one with the glowberries?
The lush caves. Yeah, they've got trees on the surface.
Yeah, exactly. They have a tree. So there has to be something. They have to. There's no way that they just expect us to wander around for like 50 million years trying to find something that is supposed to be rare. That seems stupid. Wrong.
It does, doesn't it? I mean, this still all does lead into the theories of a portal and this being something bigger than it is. But it really does feel at this point that they're leaving it lingering so long that, I mean, I know we've only just had the first Java 1.19 snapshot, but you would have thought we'd have some clue as to this. It kind of feels like they're just going to go, no, that's it for 1.19. But you never know what might happen in 1.20. And then 1.20 is the new dimension or something like that. But if that's the case, why bother putting it in? They made such a song and dance about going, we aren't going to put this in 1.17. We're not going to put 1.18. We're not even going to say it's going to be in an update after that. We're going to wait until it's ready. And it isn't ready. Yeah, I agree. And they go back a couple of weeks on the podcast, and King B-Dogs even was like, thanks for all your feedback. We'll maybe make some changes when we can. Hang on. So it is ready or it isn't ready? If this is it, then just cover me completely and utterly uninterested, because I'm not going to go. Nah, no need at all to go there. Don't even want to go there. I don't think I'll even bother if this is how it is in 1.19, because unless I stumble across one. Because there's just nothing of value there, apart from unless you really want sculk blocks. Well, you don't even need them.
Well, I mean, apparently that's how we're supposed to get XP, right? Like that's their solution. So I guess they have to make a way for us to do it reasonably. I agree, though. I think that at this point in time, it has been so long that it's hard. It's hard to stay interested and excited about something that has just been drawn out and not done. I don't want to say not done well, because obviously everything's beautiful, but it doesn't feel like there's a purpose. It doesn't feel like there's a purpose. It doesn't feel like it's necessary at all, which, I mean, they've said, right? You don't ever have to go there.
Because you can't find it.
Yeah. I was going to say, but don't make it so I don't want to go there. And that's what it feels like they're doing. They're like, you don't have to go there because there's nothing of interest. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, it really does feel like swept under the rug to a certain degree. But then I just had a thought while you were saying that. Perhaps, Jesse, seems that we're now so focused on this news weekly because we're doing a podcast, maybe we are taking it in more regularly, and therefore it feels like to us that things are taking longer. Whereas if we stepped away from doing this podcast and went back to our normal sort of, oh, you're okay, that was in the new Snapshot, was it? Okay. And just sort of hearing it in hearsay and in the communities, that news might feel like it's not, do you know what I mean? Because it's in our faces all the time. Maybe we're expecting things to happen quicker than they do, rather than giving it our normal sort of amount of time on it. So perhaps it's not taking forever. Perhaps it's just us being impatient because we just hear it every week. I don't think
that's very true. I mean, that's a positive outlook, right? What were you saying earlier about, the way you look at things? So maybe that's it.
Yes, exactly. Right. Okay. Next on the list is axes have had a vanilla parity change. Attacks with axes towards a raised shield will disable the shield for 5 seconds, which is a nice change to a bit of PvP there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't use a shield. I do use an axe to kill things rather than a sword, though. I don't carry a sword with me. I just use an axe for killing mobs, but I don't know many mobs that carry swords. So, not swords, shields.
Yeah, shields. Yeah, I don't think so.
Not going to affect us, I wouldn't have thought, but maybe on PvP things that'll have a substantial change. Right, moving on from that, the boat with a chest has finally made it into a game after all of these years when it was first announced at the biome vote for the swamp back in a long time ago. It's here, and it works just like a minecart chest that floats. It's amazing. They come in all of the different colours, and I think it's absolutely fantastic, apart from its one fundamental flaw, Jessie B. Do you know what it is?
No.
The one fundamental flaw is when you get to the edge of the river or the water and you want to take your items, you've got a full inventory from all of the things you've got. You've got a chest boat full of all of the things you've got. Maybe you've got a row of chest boats because you've tied them all together. And then you smash the chest boat to get the chest out and all of the stuff ends up in the water. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like a practical... It just seems pointless. Like if you've got a llama or a donkey with a chest on it, they can continue out of the water and onto the land and take that storage with them. But the chest boat stops. However, the thing I really like about it is the fact that they can work with hoppers. So you can now have working harbours. So you can pull it along the side of a bank next to a hopper and unload all of the items into that hopper. And then you could even have a hopper minecart underneath that takes it off to your station. And, so there is good in there, really, Jessie.
I am excited. I did not know that it worked with hoppers. So that's brilliant. I was going to say, I was one of those people who felt like it was not a very exciting thing for chest boats, because that's been my thinking all along is, okay, so I collect all these things and I'm not going to be able to get them out of the water without just having floating items everywhere and being annoyed. So my line of thinking was, but hearing the hopper thing now, totally on board with chest boats. I am a fan.
Yeah. And they can hopper, you can hopper into them from above or from the side, and you can hopper out of them from below. So, and obviously the hopper below is technically almost 2 blocks down because the boat floats on top of the water. So it's not really that obtrusive either in terms of visually. So yeah, that is a real big benefit and a bonus to those chest boats. And that's going to make making infrastructure genuinely interesting and quite good fun. I'm really actually genuinely looking forward to that now. Another interesting thing of note to the chest boats that's not in the changelog was actually spotted by Izuma, who put it in their video and basically showed that there is a new tag for the Minecraft chest boats that appeared in the behavior pack for them in the game files, and that is Minecraft Buoyant, which has some really interesting features. It's got buoyancy, which obviously you would expect, gravity. It's also got simulate waves, big wave probability, big wave speed, and liquid blocks, and that basically determines which the blocks are liquid, and it's got water and flowing water. So, there's some thoughts there, Jessie. Do you think that they're adding waves to Bedrock or to Minecraft? Do you think this is maybe something else just to do with how the boat drives in terms of its speed changing and slowing down to simulate waves? Or which the third option is what I'm kind of leaning towards at the moment. Do you think this has got absolutely nothing to do with the main game? It is just a feature of Minecraft Education Edition, a little bit like how things can be balloonable because it uses the chemistry and the physics stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was my thinking. That I don't think that it's going to be something that affects like actual gameplay or like our. I don't think we're getting waves. I feel like that's not a way that Minecraft is going, but who knows, right? I could be totally wrong, but I don't think we're getting waves in Minecraft.
No, I don't either. But it is the wild update, you know.
Yeah, it's true. You're not wrong.
But it would have to be like a visual overlay rather than it actually moving water, surely, because water moving already causes massive amounts of lag.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if the beaches or the sides of every single river or ocean was just water?
Nope.
Oh, jeez. No thanks, mate.
Take it back.
Yeah. Or like flowing water that just changed direction. So,
oh my goodness. Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah. Oh, it'd be interesting, though. It would be interesting. No, I'm pretty sure that'll be an Education Edition thing, although I'm very, very open to it not being. Right, moving on from that, the Allay has now had a delay for picking up items after delivering items, which basically fixes the bug where if you were mining sand, it would pick up one sand, deliver it to you, then go back and get one more sand and then deliver it to you. Now it'll pick up a whole stack, go and deliver them somewhere, make sure it's delivered them all, and then go back and pick up another stack, which is much better. It will also now only pick up the exact same item it holds, which is the worst changelog writing ever because it's wrong. It will not pick up the exact same item it holds. It will only do that for certain items. For instance, if you give it an enchanted book, it will pick up any type of enchanted book. However, now if you give it wool or terracotta, it will bring back the same color. So it totally depends on the item that you give it as to whether or not it's an exact thing or not. So I imagine if it's potions, it will pick up any type of potion. Actually potions I imagine will probably work like blocks because they are separated in the game. Oh no, maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, potions and books I'm guessing will be I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. We'll have to play it, Jesse, and find out. But yeah, it was wrong wording. Any thoughts on that?
No.
Good. Excellent. Allays will now stay close to a note block that has been played near it, which, again, watching Izuma's video showed that didn't really do a great deal of difference. However, that's probably a good thing because I do think that the Allays need to stay somewhere and not just follow the play around. And I know you can try very hard to capture them and put them in a box, which is going to be very difficult in survival because there's no way of leashing them or luring them. But you could effectively lead them into a building that's chunk aligned and shut the door and keep them in there, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think having them have it almost like a villager having a home point and sticking to that rather than the player, I think that's a good idea. The other thing is they're now immune to the damage from its owner, which is good as well, because they do.
Oh yeah,
they're a bit like bats, and they fly in your face while you're doing stuff, which is annoying because it stops you being able to mine or do anything. And another reason why they should just clear off and go back to the note block. But yeah, at least you're not going to be killing these incredibly rare things by accident. Jeez.
Yeah, that's really good. I had a thought when I was looking at, I think I can't remember who did a video on, it was probably Exuma actually, when he was doing the first one where they were trying not to move when he had it like just standing still, right? I was like, man, I can't imagine how annoying that's going to be having just like this blue blob in my face all
the same as bats. Bats are really annoying.
Yeah.
You know? Oh, man, yeah. But permanently, because it's going to follow you everywhere.
Nope.
Until it despawns or gets lost.
Yeah, I am 100% on board with them staying in one place. Just stay there, buddy. I'll come back, I promise.
I have absolutely no faith that these things are going to exist for more than 5 minutes without despawning. Yeah. But anyway, moving on. Data-driven items. They've added an optional mob amount parameter to the damage event response that specifies a unique damage amount when used by mobs. I'm not entirely sure what this means, but I believe because it's to do with data-driven items, which is obviously an experimental thing that allows you to do much, much more fancy things with items in the game. I actually use it for my Mobheads mini blocks pack to make them being able to put on your head. So I'm guessing what that allows you to do is, let's say you give a zombie a sword, but you don't want the damage value to be associated with the sword. You actually want it to be associated with the zombie. So you could say a zombie's going to do this amount of damage, whereas a skeleton holding the same sword will do this amount of damage, possibly. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's probably what it is. Moving on from that, we got... Oh, sorry, Jesse.
No, I was going to say that sounds really interesting.
Yeah, definitely for map makers. Obviously completely useless for the main game, but that's fine. The Copper Horn. This is, again, really interesting. I'm actually going to cut out of reading the release notes for a second and actually go over to Twitter and look at a tweet from Henrik saying, a note about the Goat Horn and Copper Horn feature in the latest Bedrock beta. This is somewhat experimental and we can't guarantee that it will be part of 1.19. As always, we're open to feedback and curious about how you use this feature. And the actual... the changelog says, we don't have any additional changes planned for the Goat Horn, of the Copper Horn, sorry, but we would love to hear more about what you think of this experimental feature and how you might use it. So they're basically saying it's just an idea. What do you think? And it might not be in the game. What do you think, Jesse?
Well, seeing as how the horn is useless, I don't care if we have multiple of something that is just to make sounds. I don't know. I feel like a negative Nancy in this one. I don't like when we add things into the game that don't have a purpose. I'm indifferent. So not having one extra item that's going to do nothing is fine by me.
I think it's a really good idea to have this in the game on a couple of for a couple of reasons, but with a couple of like prerequisites. Number one is that you can toggle the volume of them off and on, because I think if they work like they do currently and you can hear them for miles, that's just going to end up irritating everybody. But I think that gives you the ability as a texture pack person or a resource pack person to go and give everybody, or at least, you know, for the number of copper horns there are, their own unique sound that's unique to you. And you can go and, you know, share that resource pack on a server. And let's say, right, okay, Jesse, you're going to have copper horn number 1. I'm going to have copper horn number 2. And so-and-so is going to have copper horn number 3. And you've got your own, like, audible in-game greeting. You could even have it so it just said, hello, you know, or did your catchphrase or something. And I think that's a really fun thing to have in vanilla Minecraft, because I'm not interested in the little tunes they play, but having something there that I can really easily adapt to go, hey guys, isn't this fun, without actually modifying the game. I think that's good.
Okay, well, if you're going to use it in a context that is you capable, absolutely. I think that's fun. I like all the little random things that you add to our truly Bedrock experience. So I'm totally on board. But like in a vanilla game.
Well, if this comes in next season, I'm going to say push very strongly on the members that we take away the silly sounds that the goat horns make and we have our own individual greetings. Now, obviously, we do have more than 10 players and there's only 10 goat horns. Well, there's actually 20 because there's 10 goat horns and 10 copper horns. So I'm sure we can find some sort of middle ground there. But I think that would be fun.
Yeah, I think in what you do, it could be amazing. So, okay, I guess I take that back. You better put in the copper horn so we can have custom greetings. Okay?
Yeah, Mojang. Jeez. Right, on to features and bug fixes. Mobile controls have been fixed where the sensitivity was too low in new touch control schemes. They've also fixed a case where the highlight always on option was visible for the touch interaction mode, and they've fixed an issue where buttons for the new mobile control schemes were too large and too high on some devices. In gameplay, they've fixed underwater lava lakes not turning into obsidian during world generation, and I've seen a really interesting video on this one, Jesse. Healing no longer causes mobs to be immune to damage, which is I didn't know was a thing. Fire tick range check excluding chunks that were actually in range doesn't make any sense at all, and there's no bug report number with that either, so we're all lost in the dark on that one. And then breaking a layer of snow placed in the same block as a flower no longer destroys the flower, which is a nice change. Now, going back to the fixed underwater lava lakes, I saw a video just pop up on my Twitter feed earlier that showed somebody go to the edge of an ocean and pop a bucket of lava down right on the shore, and as it spread into the water, rather than just turning all of the water below it into obsidian, into stone, which it would normally do, it was turning air blocks around it into obsidian, and then the blocks underneath it into stone as expected, which obviously is free obsidian farm.
I mean, I'm okay with that.
It's wrong,
obsidian is annoying.
But how can you turn air into obsidian?
Don't have any idea. You can't.
Well, you can now. So no. Yeah, go to the edge of your lake, pop a bucket of lava on the shore, and then have free obsidian forever. This is amazing. Right. Hoglins. Baby Hoglins now attack players, which is fantastic. I didn't know they didn't. And in terms of the user interface, double tapping the crouch button will no longer toggle fly mode, fixed an issue where sprint state was not resumed after hitting an obstacle when holding the control key. So you've got, that's nice that we can continue sprinting if we're still holding the sprint button without having to press it again.
Yes.
So, because I just pretty much run around constantly. I actually have my run on. Hurt. Yeah, well, I changed mine to R, so it's next to E. So I constantly just run around tapping R and holding it as I'm running. And I just got into this habit of just whenever I hit something or come across an obstacle, I just keep tapping R until I start running again. And it's just muscle memory now. So, getting into the habit of not having to do that will be nice. Then there's actors. Added in check to prevent actor, that is a passenger, from being ridden in a vehicle that's on, preventing an infinite loop for looking for a route vehicle, which is interesting. And then mobs. Rotation when riding a mob that has a locked rotation will no longer unexpectedly snap to one side when that mob is rotating. So those two don't really make a great deal of sense, but it sounds good. Hurrah. Have you got anything to say on the this changelog, Jessie?
No.
No. Okay.
A lot of that sounds complicated.
I think the main thing to take away from that is that obviously the deep dark is there somewhere. The chest boats are a thing. And obviously we've got fixes to Allays, which is amazing. Yeah. Right. There's one more piece of news, which is not really news, just something, I spotted on Twitter, which is somebody called Jorax, who is the person that's been dealing with putting the Minecraft preview out, has now got to a point where they have doubled the number of slots on iOS devices. Jessie, do you know how many there are available to the world now that you can get so that you can get the iOS preview or Minecraft preview on iOS devices?
Is it 6,000?
It's 6,000. 6,000 in the whole world. That's how many there is. So, if you're struggling to get a slot for Minecraft preview on iOS, that's probably why. They are adding more. They're constantly trying to add more. And it sounds, by the sounds of the Twitter feeds, it sounds like quite a hard, a lot of work to get these slots opened up. So, hats off to Mojang there. But the whole thing seems to be a bit ridiculous. I don't know if I would have bothered. I'd just be like, you can't have it on iOS, mate. Sorry. Yeah,
6,000.
6,000. How many players are playing Minecraft? What is it? Nearly like 1 billion or something? No, 130 million or something, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Let's just work that out as a percentage. That is... Oh, my calculator broke. Sorry, you can't have that as a percentage, guys. It's too small. Okay, Jessie, moving on from the news then into the bug day. I've got nothing this week. Have you got anything?
No. Just the same old, same old.
Okay.
The raining glitch is awful. The lighting glitch is awful.
The raining glitch? Is that where it's raining?
That's the... Yeah, where it's raining and you have to relog in order to get back in.
That's so weird.
So much.
It's so weird that still exists, that you can be raining for one person and not for someone else. Jeez. Yeah, whenever it rains now, I just log out and log in again. And 99% of the time, it stops raining. But the bug date to the questions, then we got 3 questions. And then, Jessie, you can go and rescue Evie from swallowing that CD whole.
At this point now, we have Ethan in there down there trying to take all the CDs away from her and like try to gather them up. She's mad. It's a whole thing. They're
jeez.
I mean, they're not being loud.
Yeah, well, good. At least they're being quiet. That's the main thing. Don't wake Mum. She's doing a podcast. No, she's sleeping. Nom Nom Cake Lord says, or Lord Cake YouTube, sorry, says, hi, people in podcast land. Foxy, do you remember that? I've been thinking about why we can't play Minecraft Bedrock on Mac. 1.17 works fine on Macs with Education Edition, which is literally reskinned Bedrock. Do you guys have any idea why Bedrock doesn't support Mac OS? Now, I looked into this briefly, and the Minecraft works on Apple devices like the phone and iPads, which use the M1 chips or use the M chips or whatever they're called, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't work on Intel-based Macs. Now, that says that like quite categorically, specifically when I looked into it, that was then. But the theory is that they should work on the new Macs, which use the new things, because that's basically what's running on the phone and an iPad. So I believe this person, I wrote to them in the Discord to explain that, and they said it just comes up and says this is for mobile only. But I'm sure there is a way of running, or people that have got a lot of money that want to show off their Flash Mac that probably don't play Minecraft. They just want to, browse the web on their really nice Mac. So it's unlikely that sort of fits the use cases for the sort of or target audience of Minecraft players, as opposed to Windows 10 and PC. Well, it's developed on that platform primarily, so it makes sense, even though it's a very small user base compared to the mobile and Android and things like that. So it makes more sense for them to actually create a version that works on that than it does specifically for Mac, where it's not going to get much use.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if that's the case or not. That's just my opinion and thoughts on it. But it just, that makes sense to me. What's Dylan got to say, Jesse?
Dylan says, hey, Update Pod crew. What is the origin story of each of your usernames?
Oh, man.
Well, mine, as I'm sure will come as great shock to most of you, my name is Jessie.
It's not, it's Jenny.
It's not Jenny.
Tell me I'm not allowed to tell you. Don't tell everyone my real name.
My name is Jessie, and my maiden name started with a B. So, Jessie B. I'm so creative.
Ta-da! Wow. I don't know how you come up with it. Jeez, amazing.
Right?
Yeah, so that's exactly the same for mine, Jesse, believe it or not. Exactly the same answer. My name is Foxy, and my last name, and it starts with no tail. So it's actually No Tailington, but I got rid of the Ington because it made me sound very British.
Oh, I love it. No Tailington.
Yeah, no, obviously, I don't want to go ramble on, so I'm going to try and cut this as short as possible. My username came from the fact that I used to make my videos primarily for my son, Jack, who was very much into watching Stampy Longnose at the time. My favorite character as a child from books was Fantastic Mr. Fox. So I combined the rhythm of the word Stampy Longnose with Foxy No Tail. And that's how Foxy No Tail came around. So there you go. Very short and sweet way of looking at it.
No, not short and sweet. I think that's amazing. I think it's really cool that you tied in your favorite character. That just adds a lot of personal to your name.
Yeah, I know. Just like yours, very personal to your name as well. Yeah. Oh, geez. Right. Kame86 says, hey, Foxy, Slack, and Jesse, if she makes the podcast. Wow. Podcast is amazing. And thanks for all the entertainment and information. What are your favorite Minecraft farms and why? Oh, geez. Favorite question, Jesse. What's your favorite Minecraft farms? Quick, go.
My favorite Minecraft farm in probably a bee farm. Because I know how to do it.
Yeah. Mine is quite clearly a goat horn farm and skunk farm. They're my favorites. I'm currently working on Warden Farm at the minute, but I can't find the deep dark to actually do it in. So I know I'll be in touch once I've located one, and then I can get cracking on that. Oh, geez. I think my favourite farm goes without saying. It's got to be the Guardian farm.
Yeah.
It's my proudest moment. It's the, I've finally done something worthwhile and created something that I'm really proud of. So yeah, definitely Guardian Farm for the win.
I like your Guardian Farms, probably because it's like the first one that made sense to me.
Good.
So it's like, ooh, so I always build them. So I think that it's your favorite for a good reason.
Good. Have you seen that now that I've pretty much finished the one on Truly Bedrock? Have you been to it?
I haven't been to it yet. Hopefully in my next episode I will, though.
Oh, nice. Good. I would appreciate some feedback on how it completely fell to pieces, broke the second one other person touched it. Right, yes. I'm going to have to disappear in a minute now because I've got Nelly crying behind me. Jeez. Right, okay. Good job. We're very near the end. That is the end of the questions section. If you would like to leave us a question, you can do so at the Minecraft Update Pod at gmail.com and put question in your subject line. If you don't want to leave us an email, you can obviously leave feedback on our Discords and on our social media, or just everywhere. The links are all in the description below. Right, this week I am going to be streaming again, or I suppose it's next week now, on Tuesday and Thursday as normal. I'm going to try very hard to actually get a video out. You can catch me on twitch.tv/FoxyNotel. Jesse, what have you got going on next week?
I'm streaming on Mondays at noon PST and over on Twitch. And I have videos out once a week on YouTube. No idea what day because it changes. But it is once a week.
It does change, doesn't it? Every day. Like one day you wake up and you're like, Tuesday, whoa, it was Monday yesterday. And the next day it's Wednesday. And you're like, whoa, it was Tuesday yesterday. I can't. Every time I wake up, it's like the day changes. It's really weird.
I know. It's really weird.
Not very consistent. Right, on that note, peeps, I'm going to say thank you all very much for listening. I hope you have an amazing week and we'll catch you all in the next one. See you later, guys. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye, Jesse.
Bye.
I actually heard you say bye this time, which is nice. So I know that you did it.
I do it every week.
Yeah, I know, but I actually heard it. To be fair, I actually only got half of it because it went green and went, and then it stopped and cut off. So it felt like a little bit of a half-assed attempt at saying goodbye from what I could hear. But I'm sure when I listen to the recording back, it will be there in its full glory.
It will. Promise.
Good. Right, I'll see you next week, Jesse.
Bye.
Bye.